And finally, the Teak spirit has been truly exemplified by the thousands of fratres who have volunteered their time and resources to assist the fraternity. Chapter advisors, board members, alumni association members, district officials, grand officers, executive directors, members of the professional staff, and many others have contributed to the continued success of Teak. From its inception, Teak has always prided itself on promoting scholastic attainment, leadership development, and personal achievement. Our continued emphasis on these ideals has always distinguished Teak from other fraternities.
The Greek letter societies have degenerated from their original purpose of the cultivation of literary attainments to mere social clubs. They have put the social feature in the ascendancy and have let everything contribute to that end.
Once Teak had grown in size and reached a point of stability, the organization was able to focus its efforts and resources on our primary principles.
While there's time for recreation and relaxation, there's a time to study. The Big and Little Brother system teaches new members to properly manage time. Scholastic attainment is always emphasized. Study programs help new pledges get better grades. And the percent of fraternity men who graduate is substantially higher than other college students.
Teak readily understood the value of personal contact in promoting its basic principles, having implemented an effective field staff program following World War II. But this only provided training in small doses. Early in its second half-century, Teak became a pioneer in the fraternity world, regularly holding regionalized educational training seminars.
We used to have the Great Plains Leadership Conference in Kansas City, which was a huge gathering, almost as large as a conclave. We'd have 300, 400 undergraduates and alumni there to gather together to exchange ideas, to learn about Rush, to learn about chapter management, and just to become better educated fratres. And then to bring new ideas such as leadership conferences and as retreats and that kind of thing. And that's exactly what those regional leadership conferences have evolved into. Is they're educational, they're inspirational, they're enthusiasm builders, and hopefully they show that Teak really is a great international fraternity. And when you attend some of those regional leadership conferences, you get imbued and re-imbued with the Teak spirit.
In the late 50s, to further promote the educational focus of the fraternity, Frater Harry Donnelly and other fratres in the nation's capital formed the Teak Scholarship Fund. This tax-exempt corporation served as a conduit for using alumni contributions to award grants, provide study assistance, and give scholarships to Teak students in the Washington, D.C. area. A few years later, under the direction of Grand Pretenist Don Kaiser, Teak leaders took steps to form a fraternity-wide nonprofit educational foundation, which would allow tax deductibility for contributors. These efforts ultimately resulted in the establishment of the Teak Educational Foundation in the 1960s.
Then, to revive the literary feature of our fraternity, the original object of Greek letter societies, is the greatest opportunity offered us, and the main objective which would most rapidly build us up as a national fraternity. To that end, let us build our organization upon the foundation of Christian brotherhood, with the common purpose of scholarship, which is the chief reason of our being here, and literary attainment, which will be the controlling motive of our association.
Since its founding, the Teak Educational Foundation has grown in scope and size, having provided well over $1 million in awards and scholarships, leadership programming, and tuition assistance. In addition to funding regional leadership conferences and conclave educational programming, the Foundation, through the generous assistance of Frater Charles Walgreen Jr., created the Teak Leadership Academy in 1990. The Academy soon became Teak's premier leadership development program, providing hundreds of motivated young fratres with intensive training in organizational advancement, group dynamics, and personal development. Capitalizing on an appreciation for love, charity, and esteem, the Foundation has continued to encourage fratres of all ages to be a part of the Fraternity for Life. And perhaps the frater who most typifies the ideals of the Fraternity for Life is Iota Chapter's Ronald Wilson Reagan.
Frater Reagan is the embodiment of the Teak spirit, I think. He started out of very modest means, as everyone knows. His brother Moon helped him get through school. Then he was pretty glib on his feet as a sports announcer, and he did a lot of radio work and so on. He had a great voice. Then moved to California and so forth. Throughout that whole period of time, he was a dedicated frater and a Teak. And he was active with USC to some degree when he was in California. He was always willing to lend his name either to a fundraising piece for the Educational Foundation or as his contribution to the Fraternity for Life film, which was considerable, or whatever. And he was always a contributor. I think probably from the time the Teak Educational Foundation started, Ronald Reagan's name would be listed because he was always a regular contributor to that fund. And then throughout his career, both as governor of California, later as the President of the United States, where he hosted a major luncheon for the Teak Educational Foundation directors and others in the White House, which was really a high point.
And today, future generations of Teaks rely on the support of the Teak alumni. So I heartily endorse the Teak Educational Foundation and encourage everyone to do their part. And with that, I will just say again a heartfelt thanks and God bless all of you.
But he was always quick with a quip, always great with a story, always very warm, down to earth, but always knew fratres. And wherever he went on the campaign trail especially, Teak chapters would go and get close, and sometimes the Secret Service would try to keep them away and tell them to stand back. And Frater Reagan would get a hold of the Secret Service and say, hey, move those boys up here in front. They're my fraternity for life.
Our Declaration of Principles will tell you much about Tau Kappa Epsilon. Above all else, this fraternity stands for men, not for wealth or rank or honor, but for personal worth and character. It declares itself to be, and actually is, the Fraternity for Life. Tau Kappa Epsilon has been an important part of my life since I became a member of Teak back in 1929 while I was a student at Eureka College. The valuable leadership experiences that I enjoyed then and the many TKE friendships that I've enjoyed since have meant a great deal to me. I believe that the future of our world lies in the strength of our educational process. More than ever, we need to develop leaders who can meet the challenges of tomorrow. On campuses today, many students have an opportunity to develop leadership skills by participating in a wide variety of activities. By getting involved in TKE, you can develop skills that will prepare you to take your place as a future leader. Above all else, Tau Kappa Epsilon is a fraternity committed to excellence. For years, TKE has challenged college men to develop themselves and their leadership abilities. I know it wasn't that many years ago that I had the opportunity to get involved as an officer in my Teak chapter. The things I learned and the friends I made have stayed with me for a lifetime. Membership in Tau Kappa Epsilon is a privilege and an opportunity that will be valuable throughout your college years and for all the years to follow. For those of you who share the honor and experience of TKE, I extend my warmest congratulations. And I challenge you to take advantage of the opportunity you'll have in TKE to develop your leadership abilities. Welcome to Tau Kappa Epsilon, your fraternity for life. Yours in the bond.
So let must be concerned to cherish with undying love our frauders in esteem and love. Tau Kappa Epsilon